inclusion writer I was overjoyed to hear Frances say that. She didn't have to, and to utter those words on an international stage, so that people can dig more into the things that so many of us have been working on for a while, her included. The idea that everyone should be able to see themselves not only in front of the camera, but to know that all kinds of hands and different kinds and cultures of people made what you're watching behind the camera. So that's what really the inclusion writer is for folks that don't know. It's the big stars that have a lot of power on sets, or the directors who have a lot of power on sets, saying within their contract, part of my contract, you will pay me this amount of money, I will do this job for you, and you will also have crew that looks inclusive and that reflects the real world. And so it becomes kind of a legal measure to really make studios, networks, different production companies who've been dragging their feet do what we all should be doing. Luckily, we're on OWN, a network owned by a Black woman. And everything that we do, when you go and walk into the OWN offices to our sets, really reflect different kinds and cultures of people.
Yeah, because we heard, you know, I remember covering this in season 1 when you said, I'm gonna have all my directors be female directors, but we're going into season 3 now, and that's still the case for you.
Yes.
All women. I mean, I'm happy about that, but that's just a conscious decision that you're making and you're going to stay with, or did it just turn out that, hey?
You know what, in the same way it just turned out that decades and decades of show only hired men, just turned out. It just happened. We weren't trying, it just happened. That's who was around, you know, we couldn't find any others. It's all the excuses that we hear. So, same exact thing. It just, yeah, you know, dynamic women directors who so often have had doors closed to them. We just wrapped an episode with a woman named Patricia Cardoso, who shot a seminal film called Real Women Have Curves, which many of us know that film. It introduced us to America Ferrera. And this is a classic film. This is a film that is in many kind of national archives and libraries, and it's gorgeous. And yet she couldn't get an episode of television.
Wow.
The doors were closed to her because she didn't go through the kind of usual boys club of it all. So we're honored to have her directing the episode. She just finished episode 2 of season 3. And these are the kinds of voices that are shut out so often, but they're not, we don't close the door at Sugar. We welcome them in.
I love that. And you're making beautiful television with all these, you know, different points of view, which is great. Kofi, when you read that script that said, Blue, love you too. Hi, Kofi.
He said he loves you too. He said he loves you too.
When you read that script and saw Blue may not be Ralph Angels, what was your reaction?
So Ava called me first because she knew I would freak out, and I freaked out. I mean, Blue, since the beginning, that's the first scene I had. That's even more than Darla. Like, that's the true love story, as Ava said. And I mean, for that to not be real, you know, biologically, it broke my heart, you know. And I feel like Ralph Angel's already in a place where he's trying to rebuild himself, and he had high hopes for this wedding, and he had this whole fantasy of a future like laid out. And then this young lady right here.
Yeah, I don't know if I want y'all sitting by each other right now. See, I like Remy and Charlie are apart, so I think
they got some things to work out. Yeah, we probably shouldn't be next to each other.
Bianca, what about you when you read that? Were you like, no?
Oh my goodness. Well, Ava called me first and she was like, before the script comes out, I want to talk you through this. And she gave me some backstory and then led up to, okay, there's a big reveal, there's a secret. And when she told me, she was like, are you shocked? You know, and it took a minute to settle it, for it to really hit me. It took a while to land. And then I felt like I started sort of grieving for all of them because they'd all worked so hard to get to where they got to. And Blue and Ralph Angel are soulmates. I mean, that is like a great love. So processing that, it took me a minute.
Yeah.
But it happens a lot, and I think it brings up a really important question about what is truly family. Is it blood, or is it like experience?
Yeah, Ava, where did that come to you to take that turn with the storyline?
When I wrote episode 1, the opening of the whole show, I'd written that episode and then we started to audition actors. And I met Kofi and knew that he was Ralph Angel, and we were looking for the boy. And when we found Ethan, who was extraordinary, I thought that's when the story came to me. And
so you knew all along.
Oh, yes. I thought if you could make the love so strong that people don't question, you know, the genetics, you can make the love so robust and so deeply felt that it's undeniable, and you don't even think about the fact that, you know, we have different skin tones and different features and the possibility that it can be. So then it was important to find who the mother would be, and a longtime fan of Bianca. And so just, when we introduced Bianca into the story, I said, people are gonna catch on, people are gonna see it. I think it's too cut and dry by way of genetics. And you know, we know there's all kinds of anomalies, but still it's a little, how can the two of them create that bright baby, right? and I mean, that did cross my mind. You know, and so I thought they're gonna get us, and I would look on Twitter and like now and then, like maybe once every 2 months, one person like in Nova Scotia would say, what is that? I'd be like, shh, don't say anything. But overall, it was the love between them that just made you so sure that this was everything that it needed to be. And my challenge to the audience is, isn't it? You know, isn't it everything that it needs to be? Does it need to be that biological marker? And so that's a lot of what Ralph Angel goes through in season 3, is reconciling that. And, you know, the actors did an extraordinary job of bringing it all to life. But yeah, I knew since season 1 before we shot the first episode.
So do we figure it all out early? And do we just take the ride for a while? Oh, man.
You'll see. You'll see.
Can anybody help me out?
That's my boss right there.
Is it fun playing so good, or do you long for the day when Remy?
You know, honestly, it has been a pleasure playing this character because Remy from the first episode has been me paying homage to my grandmother, may she rest in peace, and even to my mother, because as a kid, I watched them suffer in relationships and not being with a man and being with grown males, and that's very different. So Remy is actually my gift to my grandmother and my mother.
I love that. I love that.
It's good.
She's like,
I mean, come on, man. I don't even know where to go from that. So I guess Dondre is just as perfect as Remy. No, but you know, it is very satisfying to see this image of just a good brother on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, and one of the things that I love Ava for, there's many things, but this one in particular, I really love her for, and for obviously, you know, our great boss, Oprah Winfrey, for supporting it, which is obviously the powerful and dynamic voices that you hear on our show, because it's the narrative of strong women, doesn't come at the expense of stifling the strong men that have their back.
So Charlie, why don't you just get right then? Just get right. No, do you root for them? Do you root for Charlie and Remy?
I really do.
Do you?
I really do, yeah. I think because she meets Remy so early in the journey and in such an intimate space. You know, they both have lost Ernest. And so there's a built-in intimacy in grief, in shared grief. And they're also seeing each other very fully, very quickly in that first scene that they actually meet. I think they see each other and didn't expect to be seen so deeply. So I love the balance that he is for her, even though she can't see it.
Right.
And she can't necessarily protect it or nurture it herself. And I love the challenge that he is for her. I think that he asks her to explore her wholeness in a way that nothing else has yet.
Now, I do like the fact that I do feel like Charlie is getting a little more settled in where she is and who she is, even though I don't root for the relationship. I'm starting to root for her. No, I am. I'm starting to root for her, even though I'm about the relationship. I feel like she's getting there, you know?
Yeah, I think that it's funny because people have a love-hate relationship with her.
Yes.
Sometimes within the same scene.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll be like, I am with you, why are you doing that? I'll be like, and sometimes I do too, you know? And I think that part of it is that she's so bold in her actions. She is absolutely she's a no-holds-barred, fearless woman on a mission all the time. And I think people can both react to that because they don't like how she is, but they can also see themselves in her and both love and hate that about her. So I think watching her get more settled and I think more and more recognize her family as equally important as all of the ambitions in her life. I think there's something that's fulfilling in that for everyone. Yeah.
We really got to see that familial unit where Nova stepped in and was a surrogate for a while for Micah when she could see like him floundering and she knew like he's not going anywhere, he's not going to his parents, he can't do it, and like he's got to be saved. And I thought that was really, really great because she is like the voice of the people, the culture, you know, creator. She's the voice of the people, and I loved that. I loved that it was like, no, don't worry, I got you, even though you didn't want her to let that go, but I loved it.
She did that in one motion, I'll just say. There's one thing that always stays in my head that Rutina did. In the scene where they go and get him from the police station.
Yes.
She takes off her jacket and her thing and she wraps it around him. Just all the little things that she does to bring that character to life that could be a real caricature of a strong black woman. And she can be that strong black woman, but she can also be what we all are, which is a myriad of things, like a gem with all of these different facets. That she does in those little moments. But that piece, I could see that just breaks my heart when you tie it around him and then you hug him.
And that's where that bond, I think that's where that bond, that trust was really solidified there between the two of them. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, sometimes, I love that Nova can be that aunt for him, the aunt that you can confide in. You know, everyone has that one auntie sometime or uncle that they go to, that they can, and I felt like it was moments like that where I wanted to build a bond with him and that sort of relationship that he could trust and depend on when he maybe felt like he didn't have anywhere else to go. And it was a very delicate time in his life, so it was I had to walk a kind of fine line of, you know, as an aunt, not wanting to embarrass you, but how do I, it broke my heart that moment was really hard, but how do I protect you from this to let you know that this cannot shake you, you know? And I feel like that was the only thing that she could do to just let him know that it will be all right, just that one little moment. But it's important, I think, for someone at his age to have someone who sees him, even if just for a moment. And I feel like in that moment, Micah kind of felt like she saw him in a way and understood.
That was a real testament to him as well. Just being very vulnerable as a black man in that moment and just kind of letting everybody see that, because we don't see that either with black men characters on the screen, that really raw, very vulnerable, broken down moment. It was great.